For today's episode, I want to talk about the concept of self-indulgence. We have entered the new year. This is when I'm recording this episode, beginning of 2025. And I think specifically for people pleasers, those of us who identify as people pleasers, who have always struggled with allowing ourselves to do things because we want to, not because we think we should or others want it from us, we struggle with self-indulgence. And I think that term alone can kind of trigger anybody who struggles with this because it feels almost a little bit selfish, self-centered, egotistical. But I want to give an argument for self-indulgence and the importance of it and how it can be implemented in your life in a healthy way that allows you to also live a life that's enjoyable for you and that makes you feel good and that allows you to achieve the things you want to achieve and cultivate the kind of life you want to have. So we're going to get into this. I also wrote a Substack essay about this topic as well, also titled Sink Your Teeth In, because I think that's the perfect imagery for this specific topic. So if you want to read more of that, you can follow me over on Substack. I think it's so important to be self-indulgent with your life because this is the only one you have. You have a limited amount of time on this planet. So to not sink your teeth into it, whatever you're doing, because this doesn't only apply to things that are good, enjoyable, fun, luxurious. It applies to all areas of your life. Sometimes there are things we don't want to do, and we can still be self-indulgent in them. This can apply to work. This can apply to the things that are just maintenance tasks in your life. Flossing your teeth, maybe the most mundane thing you could possibly do. You can indulge in that to make the experience of your life self-indulgent. It doesn't always have to be a level of, discomfort or resistance or I don't want to do this. Let yourself indulge in it because it is your life and you deserve to indulge in what you have, whatever that might look like. There might be things that you want to change and improve, sure, which is totally fine, and you should do that. And there are things that you can't change, and yet they still deserve to be indulged in because they're yours. They're part of your life. They're not always great. They're not always fun. And also they're yours, And this is not to disregard the discomfort, the pain, the suffering that comes along with things in life that we don't want, of course, right? I'm not saying to necessarily love the things that make you suffer, but I do think there is an element of indulgence you can have in certain things that you otherwise can't avoid. I think particularly for people pleasers, it's important to stop restraining yourself and holding yourself back from the things you want in your life. This is what I mean when I mean to be self-indulgent, to indulge in yourself, to not hold yourself back anymore from attempting the things you want just because you've been conditioned to value discipline more. Now, obviously, discipline is important. It is an important value, but there's a time and place for it. You can't be disciplined in all areas of your life. And sometimes, and this is, a bit of a reframing, your self-indulgence can be a form of discipline in the sense that you're disciplining yourself to also indulge in your life. You're using that as a tactic to practice caring for yourself in ways that look maybe externally like self-centeredness. I prefer to see them as self-indulgence, and that is a practice in itself. It requires discipline. It forces you to have to say no to things because you don't want to do something, or to say yes to things because you want to do it. To choose yourself, to be about yourself, to be all in with yourself. That's a practice. That requires discipline just as much as anything else. So I think it's important to understand that discipline doesn't just mean holding yourself back from things that are pleasurable and fun just for the sake of it. That's also part of being disciplined and creating a life that you want to live. It's about balance, about finding the good and the bad and allowing yourself to experience both and to not shame yourself for it. You're allowed to do things that you want to simply because they're just who you are, what you're innately attracted to, the things that you gravitate towards naturally without being told. You're allowed to do that, and that's enough of a reason. Just the fact that you want it is enough of a reason. You don't have to justify it more than that in order to then let yourself enjoy it and indulge in it. Now, of course, be mindful of your morals and your values. This isn't about disregarding those and being a different person than who you want to be and not considering other people. Of course, that's an important part of this because we're also trying to build community, right? A healthy life requires us to also be interdependent creatures with other people because that's the point, right? That does help us. It does give us a healthy, happy life. But it's also about recognizing when maybe you're using the care and consideration for people, the empathy for people a little bit too much to then suppress yourself. You're using it as a way to feel self-righteous, saying, well, I'm going to be a really good person and never let myself do anything and only do the things that others want from me. Or I'm going to not take up this space because someone else should do it instead. Someone else should have more than I have. Of course, be mindful when you are overstepping somebody else's boundaries, right? The point isn't to intentionally hurt other people. It's about being mindful and aware of what your boundaries are, what your needs are, what your desires are, and adhering to them without then intentionally trying to hurt somebody. However, unfortunately, in life, when we do things that we want to do sometimes, still in alignment with our values and morals, we still end up maybe disappointing people, hurting them because maybe their happiness is contingent on whether we do what they want us to do or what they think is important or good. That's an unfortunate part of this process, and that means you do also have to get used to that. You have to get used to the discomfort of disappointing and hurting others simply because you're existing the way you want to. And it doesn't necessarily have to mean it involves other people the way you're existing. But sometimes, again, because we're interconnected, it's hard to avoid that. But this is especially important for people who are people pleasers, who have been conditioned to overgive themselves for the benefit of somebody else. That's what I'm specifically talking about here. If you identify as someone like that, if this resonates with you, that self-restraint all the time, or the, holding yourself back because you think someone else should have more simply because that's just what you've been taught to do. That's what makes you a good person in your mind. This is important for you, right? This concept of self-indulgence, the practice of self-indulgence is important for you. The concept of self-indulgence is especially difficult for people pleasers because it goes against everything you've been told to do, everything you're supposed to do as someone who is supposed to care about others. You're supposed to do the things that aren't necessarily enjoyable for you all the time because you know that it'll be enjoyable for someone else. So I'm here imploring you to sink your teeth into your life in the way you would sink your teeth into a decadent, delicious, custard-filled, frosting-covered dessert. Sink your teeth in. It's your life. You have one life to live. And it's okay to do the things you want to do and enjoy them and revel in them and take pleasure in them simply because they're pleasurable. Not always because they have some sort of, greater intention that benefits everyone all the time. Sometimes it can be just for you because you are also a person. You are people too. You're allowed to also enjoy the fruits of your labor. You're also allowed to make yourself happy and pleased. And the irony here is that indulging in yourself, sinking your teeth into your life, is also inevitably and inadvertently beneficial to other people. So you don't really have to people please in the way where you're over-empathizing, over-giving, suppressing your needs, overstepping your boundaries to benefit others. By being there for yourself, being all in with yourself, it does help others because you show up as a better person, a person that's more in tune with themselves, more aligned, happier, more enjoyable to be around because you're letting yourself enjoy things. That benefits the people in your life, especially the people that are good for you, right? It might not benefit the people that maybe don't want to see you enjoy life because maybe they don't let themselves enjoy life, right? If they hold themselves back, they want to see others do that too. We find company in misery, or we find connection in similarities. So, it's important to be mindful of that as well. But the people that are aligned with you, that are on the same page as you, that are also allowing themselves to indulge in their lives, in a healthy way, in a balanced way, they'll get it and they'll enjoy you as you are, as you're showing up for yourself. And ultimately, your life looks like what it looks like right now. It might not be perfect. It might not be exactly where you want to be. This is who you are. These are the cards you've been dealt. You might as well enjoy them as much as possible. You might as well be all in with whatever it is you have and whatever it is you want to do. If you have a goal, a dream, whatever, that is something that maybe you've been conditioned to believe is not good, right, important, whatever, be all in with it. Indulge in that because it is you. It's you in your most innate being, right? It's you at your core. You should indulge in that. That's really important. It shows you that you believe that you are worthy of being indulged in. And the person that can do that for you is you. Because sometimes when we don't let ourselves do that, we seek it out from others, right? We want to get into relationships that then, show us that we are worthy of being enjoyed, indulged in. We want someone to attach to us very intensely, to make us feel very special. No one should have the responsibility of doing that all the time. That's on us. We have to make ourselves feel special. And the way to make ourselves feel special to the point where we don't need it from others, we can still enjoy it from others, of course, but we don't desperately need it because we're lacking it, is to show it to ourselves, to indulge in ourselves, to make ourselves worthy of sinking our teeth in to whatever we're doing. Again, it doesn't have to be this grand type of lifestyle. It can be anything. It can be the small mundane things. Those are worthy of you indulging in. And you should let yourself do that. And, from my own experience, it feels really good to do that. You start to realize that you are worthy, that you can enjoy the things about you that maybe at some point in your life you were taught weren't good enough. You can now see them as good enough simply because you're showing yourself they're good enough by indulging in them, whatever they might be. So this is me giving you permission to indulge in yourself, to be self-indulgent. Consider all the things that you are scared to let yourself do, that you're afraid, you're ashamed of, whatever. Indulge in them. Be about them. Be all in. Really lick the bone clean, in a sense, when you're devouring something about yourself. This will benefit you in so many ways that happen over time. Of course, this isn't, a fast process. It takes time. But it'll show you that you are worthy of your own attention. And if you are worthy of your own attention and effort, then imagine how much more worthy you'll feel in the eyes of other people. And then you won't be doing things to overcompensate. You won't be overgiving, over-empathizing to then hopefully get it from someone else. You're already getting it. You're already giving it to yourself. So now you can operate in your life knowing that you are your best audience, right? You are the audience that cares the most about what you're doing, your performance, in a sense. Let yourself be that person. Let yourself enjoy what you're seeing in your life and what you're doing. Again, balanced, aligned with your values and morals, but be about yourself. Let yourself enjoy what you are, how you are, and what you're planning to do. So I hope this was helpful. I hope it was encouraging. I hope it gave you a little bit of a goal for the year, maybe. Be more self-indulgent. Do more of what you want. If you want to read more about this, again, like I said, I have an essay on my Substack. You can also follow me on TikTok, Instagram, if you want to see the rest of my content on this kinds of topics, and reach out to me directly through DM, comments, whatever. I also offer one-to-one calls. My schedule's a little bit limited going into the new year because I'm trying to focus a little bit more on my writing. I also offer email guidance, so if you prefer to just have like an email exchange, I offer that as well. Other than that, thank you for being here, and I'll be back again soon with another episode.